welcome to the deep dive. Today we're diving into something pretty mind-bending in biology. It's this idea, backed by some fascinating research, that fitness gains might actually be passed down. Not through DNA changes, but something else.
Right. For the longest time, the spotlight was really on the maternal side for preconception health. What mom ate, her environment.
Yeah, that's what you always hear.
But this work we're looking at today, it really shifts the focus. It shows pretty convincingly that paternal exercise, what the father does, can directly boost endurance and metabolic health in his kids.
So dad's gym time actually counts for the next generation.
It looks that way. And what's key here is the mechanism. It's epigenetic. We're talking about acquired traits, things you gain through lifestyle, being transmitted. It confirms a causal role for the father.
Okay, let's break that down. What do the kids, the offspring, of these exercising dads actually inherit? What did it look like?
So the core experiment compared two groups of fathers. You had your exercise-trained dads, let's call them F0ET.
F0 for the parent generation, F for exercise-trained. Got it.
Exactly. And then the control group, the sedentary dads, F0 said. They looked at the adult offspring, the F1 generation.
And what did they find in those F1s?
The results were pretty immediate and frankly, quite striking. The F1 mice from the exercise dads, the F1E group, significantly better runners.
And better runners. How did they measure that?
On treadmills, incremental tests. They just ran longer, covered more distance. Simple as that.
Wow. Okay. So real performance enhancement.
Yeah, and it wasn't just that they could run longer. Their bodies were handling the exertion better, too. Lower blood lactate levels after they maxed out.
Okay, so better performance, less fatigue.
Yeah.
Even though these offspring mice never train themselves.
That's the kicker. They never trained. This was purely inherited.
Was it just running, or did their whole metabolism change?
Oh, it was deeper. Yeah. Much deeper. Their overall metabolic profile was consistently better. Higher oxygen consumption, VO2.
Meaning they're using oxygen more efficiently?
Right. And burning more energy overall. Their whole system was just running at a higher, more efficient level. They even had better body composition, more lean mass, less fat.
This is where it gets really wild for me. The offspring didn't train, but you're saying their muscles looked like they had.
Essentially, yes. When they looked at the muscle tissue, specifically the gastrocnemius, that's a key leg muscle,
right,
they saw a physical shift in the muscle fiber types. Less of the fast twitch, glycolytic type I, think sprinter muscle.
Okay, the sugary quick burst top?
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
And more towards the oxidative types, type I, type I, the kind of fibers you see in endurance athletes.
The marathon runner's muscle. Wow.
And this shift was directly linked to having more mitochondria in the muscle cells.
More cellular power plants. How do they confirm that?
They measured mitochondrial DNA content, mtDNA, which was higher. And key enzyme activities inside the mitochondria, things like SDH and CS, were also elevated.
Okay, hold on. SDH, CS, why are those enzymes important? Break that down a bit.
Sure. Think of SDH, succinate dehydrogenase, and CS citrate synthase as key workers on the mitochondrial assembly line. They're crucial for energy production.
Okay.
So higher levels mean the mitochondria aren't just more numerous, they're also potentially more powerful. It's like the fathers pass down an upgraded engine room to their kids' muscles.
An upgraded engine room. I like that.
Yeah.
And the practical benefit. You mentioned metabolic health earlier. Did this protect them from disease? For you listening, this is where it gets really relevant.
Absolutely. This wasn't just about running on a treadmill. The F1 offspring, the ones with fit dads, were way more resilient to diet-induced problems. They put them on a high-fat diet, which usually causes issues like insulin resistance.
Right, a standard way to induce metabolic stress.
Exactly. And the F1 mice, they handled it much better, improved glucose tolerance, better insulin sensitivity compared to the mice from sedentary dads on the same diet.
So the inherited fitness acted like a shield against the bad diet.
A really effective shield. And they traced it back to the muscle. Again, their muscles were better at taking up glucose even under that dietary stress. Paternal fitness literally conferred metabolic protection.
Incredible. Okay, so the what is clear enhanced fitness, better metabolism, disease resilience, but the how, that's the big mystery. How does running translate into something heritable in sperm?
That's the million-dollar question they tackled next. They had to figure out the messenger. First step, rule out standard genetics.
Meaning rule out changes in the DNA sequence itself.
Correct. And they used a clever approach involving a molecule called PGC1 alpha.
PGC1 alpha. Another one of these acronyms. What does that one do?
PGC1 alpha is like a master switch for building mitochondria and boosting endurance. It's a protein that turns on a whole bunch of genes related to energy metabolism.
So activating it mimics exercise benefits.
Precisely. They used transgenic mice where PGC1 alpha was specifically overexpressed, turned way up just in the muscle tissue. These mice are super endurance athletes without any training.
Okay. So they had these super fit, genetically engineered dads. Then what?
They bred these dads with normal female mice. Now here's the crucial part. They looked at the offspring who did not inherit the PGC1 alpha trans gene. These offspring had normal PGC1 alpha genes.
So any benefit they got couldn't be from inheriting that specific tweak gene.
Exactly. And yet these offspring still showed the enhanced endurance and the mitochondrial improvements.
Wow. So that really isolates it. It's not the gene the father has, it's something else he passes on because he has that gene active or because he exercised.
That was the slam dunk. It proved the benefit comes from a non-genetic, transferable factor delivered by the sperm.
Okay, so if it's not DNA, what's the messenger? You mentioned sperm. What do they look at there?
RNA. The logical next step. RNA molecules are like the working copies of genetic instructions.
Right.
They extracted total RNA from the sperm of the exercise fathers. Then they did something called microinjection.
Checking it. Where?
Directly into normal fertilized eggs, zygotes from sedentary parents.
And did it work? Did just the RNA transfer the benefits?
It absolutely did. Injecting that sperm RNA alone was enough to recreate the entire phenotype in the resulting offspring. The high endurance, the muscle changes, the metabolic improvements, all of it.
Just from the RNA?
Yeah.
That's amazing. Did they narrow it down further? Like what kind of RNA?
They did. They separated the RNA by size. And it turned out the effect was carried by the small RNAs molecules less than 200 nucleotides long. Not the long RNAs.
Small RNAs. Okay, getting specific now. Are we talking about a particular type?
Yes, the prime suspects became microRNAs, or miRNAs. These are tiny RNA molecules that don't code for proteins themselves, but they act like dimmer switches for genes, usually turning them down.
Okay, gene regulators.
Exactly. And here's a key convergence. They found that both actual exercise training and that PGC1 alpha overexpression led to a very similar pattern of changes in the miRNAs found in sperm.
So, two different ways to get fit exercise or genetic boost, both change the same set of miRNAs in the sperm.
Pretty much. They identified 10 specific miRNAs that were consistently upregulated, meaning present in higher amounts in both scenarios.
10 specific messengers. Do we know how much they increased? Like, are we talking a tiny change or a big jump?
It was significant. They estimated the levels for one of them, miR148A3P. In exercise sperm, it jumped from around 830 copies per sperm to almost 2,800 copies.
Wow, more than triple.
Yeah, a big enough increase to be biologically meaningful, enough copies to actually go and suppress its target gene effectively.
Okay, so these boosted miRNAs get delivered to the embryo via the sperm. What do they do there? What's their target?
Their main target seems to be a protein called NCR1 nuclear receptor copressor 1.
NCR1.
And this suppression happens really early. Right around the 8-cell stage of embryonic development, tiny changes then, big effects later.
What does NCR1 normally do? Why suppress it?
NCR1 basically acts as a brake on metabolism. Remember PGC1 alpha, the accelerator for mitochondria?
Yep, the master switch.
Well, NCR1 is kind of its antagonist. It represses the activity of PGC1 alpha and related pathways. So by inheriting these miRNAs that suppress NCR1...
You're essentially taking the foot off the metabolic brake in the developing embryo.
Precisely. You remove the repressor, which allows the whole PGC1 alpha system for mitochondrial building and energy use to run higher naturally. It sets the stage for better endurance later in life.
It's a beautifully elegant mechanism. But how sure are we that this miRNA-NCOR1 link is the actual cause, not just something happens alongside the fitness boost?
They nailed the causality pretty convincingly with 2 key experiments. First, they injected only synthetic miR148A3P, just that one miRNA identified earlier, into normal zygotes. And those offspring grew up to have high endurance, mimicking the benefit from the exercise dads.
Just the one molecule was enough. Wow. What was the second proof?
A rescue experiment. They took the beneficial mix of small RNAs from the exercise dad's sperm, but this time they co-injected it with a tool designed to force NCR1 levels back up to normal in the embryo, overriding the suppression.
Ah, so putting the brake back on, essentially.
Exactly. And when they did that, the offspring lost the endurance advantage. Their performance and mitochondrial levels went back to looking like offspring from sedentary dads.
Okay, that seals it. Removing the NCR1 brake via these sperm miRNAs is the mechanism.
It really confirms that causal chain. Father exercises, sperm microRNAs go up, NCR1 gets suppressed in embryo, offspring gets enhanced fitness.
Incredible stuff. Now, the big question for everyone listening, does this apply to humans, or is it just a mouse thing?
That's obviously crucial, and the signs are very positive. Remember those 10 key microRNAs?
Yeah.
7 of them are conserved between mice and humans, meaning we have the same or very similar molecules. And crucially, those 7 conserved microRNAs were also found to be significantly elevated in the sperm of trained human guys compared to sedentary ones.
So the same molecular players are changing with exercise in human sperm, too.
It strongly suggests the fundamental pathway is active in us as well.
That's huge. But you mentioned earlier this study noted limitations. This inheritance isn't forever, right? That's correct. It appears to be intergenerational, meaning it affects the direct offspring, the F1 generation.
But not the grandkids.
Apparently not. When they took those fit F1 males and bred them, the F2 generation didn't seem to inherit the same endurance boost or metabolic benefits.
So the epigenetic slate gets wiped clean, or at least reset somehow before the next generation.
It seems that way, yes. The reprogramming effect appears to be potent for one generation, but doesn't automatically carry over further.
And there was another wrinkle, wasn't there? Something about differences between male and female offspring.
Yeah, that was interesting. In the standard exercise model, the female F1 offspring didn't show the same endurance improvements as their brothers did.
Oh, so the benefit was male-specific in that case.
It seemed to be for the exercise training, but interestingly, when they looked at the offspring from the fathers with the PGC1 alpha overexpression...
The genetically enhanced dads.
Yes. In that case, the female offspring did show superior performance.
Okay, that's complex. So the way the signal is transmitted or interpreted might differ depending on the initial trigger in the father, exercise versus gene boost, and maybe the sex of the embryo.
It certainly suggests there are more layers to peel back, possibly sex-specific mechanisms involved in how these microRNA signals are read and utilized during development. It's not quite a simple universal transfer.
Right. Okay, one last piece of the puzzle. We know exercise changes sperm microRNAs, which changes the embryo, but how does the dad's workout actually change his sperm composition in the first place? What's the upstream link?
That's still a major area of investigation. The paper proposes a couple of main hypotheses.
Like what?
One idea involves something called SEVs, small extracellular vesicles. These are like tiny lipid bubbles released by cells, including muscle cells during exercise.
Okay.
These vesicles can carry cargo, including microRNAs. So the theory is that exercise makes tissues release these SEVs, which then travel through the bloodstream, maybe even cross the blood-testis barrier, and deliver their microRNA payload directly to the developing sperm cells.
Wow, like little delivery drones from the muscles to the sperm.
Kind of, yeah. The other main idea is more hormonal. Exercise obviously changes hormone levels, things like steroids, maybe others. These systemic hormonal shifts could directly influence gene expression, including microRNA production within the testes, and affect the sperm as they mature.
So either direct package delivery or broader hormonal signals changing the sperm factory itself.
Those are the leading thoughts, yeah. Still needs more work to pin down precisely how the signal gets from the muscle or the body's exercise state into the sperm's RNA content.
So let's try and wrap this up. What's the big takeaway here? We've gone from dad exercising to tiny molecules in sperm to reprogramming an embryo.
The big picture is this newly established, remarkably precise epigenetic pathway. You have paternal activity like exercise or boosted PGC1 alpha, changing the microRNA profile in sperm. These microRNAs then travel with the sperm to the zygote. There, they act incredibly early to dial down a key metabolic repressor, NCR1. This subtle tweak at the dawn of development then cascades, leading to enhanced mitochondrial function, better muscle performance, and improved metabolic health that lasts throughout the offspring's adult life.
It really is an incredible story of how environment and biology interact across generations. Small RNA molecules delivered right at fertilization, acting like a software update almost, passed from father to child.
That's a good way to put it, a non-genetic software update that fine-tunes metabolic settings, leading to these tangible physical adaptations.
It really forces us to broaden our view of preconception health. It's clearly not just about avoiding toxins. It's also about the positive biological state you're in.
Absolutely. The father's physical condition seems to directly imprint onto the offspring's metabolic blueprint.
Okay, so here's something for you, our listeners, to chew on. If a trait like endurance, something we acquire through effort, can be packaged into, a few thousand mRNA molecules and pass on effectively, What other kinds of subtle traits might be transmitted this way? Could aspects of metabolism, maybe even stress responses or other behavioral tendencies, be influenced by a parent's lifestyle or environment before conception? And thinking ahead, how could understanding these pathways potentially unlock new ways to optimize health right from the very start of development?
Big questions. Really opens up a whole new perspective.
Definitely food for thought. Thanks for diving deep with us today.